All right, today we're diving into The Willpower Instinct by Stanford psychologist Kelly McGonigal. And look, this is not your typical self-help book. Think of it more like an operator's manual for your brain, a strategic briefing on the science of self-control. It's designed to give you a real, tangible edge. So, let's jump right in.
So, let's start with a big question, one that probably hits close to home for a lot of you. Why is it that the most successful people, we're talking entrepreneurs, top leaders, serious high achievers, still break their own rules? You know, they can run a company, but they can't stick to a diet or stop scrolling on their phone at midnight. It's not because they're not ambitious enough, right? The book argues it's something way more fundamental going on.
And that something is what Kelly McGonigal calls the willpower tax. Here's the core idea, and it's a game changer. Every single decision you make, everything, from a huge negotiation to just deciding what to have for breakfast, drains a literal, biological battery in your brain. Willpower isn't some personality trait you're born with. No, it's a finite resource. It runs out.
And get this is absolutely critical. The research in the book shows that your level of self-control is actually a better predictor of your success and wealth than your IQ. Let that sink in. This completely reframes willpower. It's not just some nice-to-have virtue. It's a core strategic asset, especially for high performers.
Okay, so if willpower is this finite resource, we really need to understand the hardware that's running the show, right? Let's pop the hood and look at the science of self-control to figure out who or what is actually calling the shots up there. So what's happening inside your head is basically a constant battle. You've got this impulsive, primitive part of your brain that's always screaming, "Eat the cake! Buy the thing! Say what's on your mind!" It's all about that instant gratification. But then you have the CEO of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. This is the new kid on the block, evolutionarily speaking, and its entire job is to step in and say, hold on, let's think about our long-term goals here, and override those impulses. And this leads to a really crucial idea. A lot of us think of willpower like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But that's wrong. McGonigal says to think of it like a battery. Every time you use it, it drains a little bit. That's exactly why you can walk past a box of donuts at 9 in the morning, no problem. But by 9 p.m., after a full day of making decisions, good luck. It's not you being weak, it's just resource depletion. Your battery is low.
And to put this into perspective, just how much are we using this battery? Well, get this. Research shows the average person makes around 227 food-related decisions every single day. 227. And each one of those tiny choices is a small withdrawal from your willpower bank account. In the world we live in, we're just under constant assault from choices that are practically designed to drain this critical resource.
All right, so we've laid out the problem. It's a bit grim, I know. But now let's talk solutions. The book is full of actionable tools, but I want to focus on a few of the most high-impact strategies that you can literally start using today.
The first big strategy revolves around a key biological metric you might have heard of, heart rate variability, or HRV. Now, put simply, HRV just measures the tiny differences in time between each of your heartbeats. A high variable rate is good. It means your body is relaxed and ready for anything. McGonigal calls this the pause and plan state. A low steady rate, that's your body in stress mode. And the most important part, you can actually control it.
So how do you control it? Here's the tactic. You just slow your breathing way down. Aim for about 4 to 6 breaths per minute. A super simple way to do this is to inhale for 4 seconds and then exhale for 8. That's it. This slow, deliberate breathing tells your brain to chill out, to turn off that fight or flight response. It instantly activates your prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, and boosts your HRV. You literally shift from a state of stress into a state of control. It's an incredibly powerful tool you can use anytime, anywhere. Okay, strategy number 2 is a bit counterintuitive, but it's so important. You know how we think that being hard on ourselves after we mess up is what builds discipline? Well, the science says that's completely wrong. Beating yourself up just creates more stress, and what do we do when we're stressed? We go right back to those bad habits for comfort. The real strategic move here is what the book calls the self-forgiveness pivot. You acknowledge the failure, you think about it, and then you forgive yourself. This is what actually breaks that cycle of guilt and failure and gets you back on track way faster. And finally, let's talk about the foundations, the big things that increase the total size of your willpower battery. This isn't rocket science, but it's non-negotiable. First, consistent quality sleep. Think 7 to 9 hours. That's how your battery recharges every night. And second, Regular physical exercise. It's one of the best long-term investments you can make for building a stronger, more resilient prefrontal cortex.
Okay, but no strategy is a silver bullet, right? To give you a fair and balanced view, we have to talk about the reality of actually putting these ideas into practice.
So let's get real for a second. The upside here is huge. These strategies are backed by science, and when you strengthen your willpower, you see returns in every area of your life: your health, your money, your career. But here's the reality check. This stuff isn't a quick fix. It's not a magic pill. Real resilience only comes from consistency. You have to think of it like a training program, not a one-time trick. It's the long-term habits that really build that foundation for success.
So what's the big takeaway here? What's the final blueprint for how we should approach self-control?
If you remember one thing from this, let it be this. Willpower is a resource, not a virtue. Stop thinking about it as being good or bad. It is a finite biological resource, just like your energy or your money. And your job is to manage it with the same strategic care you'd apply to your investment portfolio. Honestly, the Willpower Instinct is the blueprint for learning how to do just that. If you want to dive deeper and really get into the nuts and bolts, I'll put a link to the book and some other resources down in the description. And of course, if you want more deep dives like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.